From an ex-player's point of view, when you're injured and you know that there's a big game coming around the corner, you're fighting to stay fit. Is it a case of, obviously it's only been a couple of weeks, but the match sharpness, will it still be there or not quite?
It'll definitely still be there. This time of the season, you know, adrenaline, you know, the fitness levels down a little bit will get you through. You know, the magnitude of this game is so massive that you know, Tyler wanted to be ready for this one, and he wouldn't be in there unless he was 100% ready, because obviously the importance of the game.
No, of course, it's got players know the importance of the game, so that's players as they arrive on the bus, but are greeted with an incomplete uniform. They go through in a really great, fantastic way. As a player, when you're on the coach and you see players to be waving you on, cheering you on, going to say that extra motivation, isn't it?
I think from a romantic
is well and truly on. Ederson back in goal, David. I think I just wanted to take a moment, one, to just say how great I think Stefan did, but what do you think Ederson might be able to help us with tonight? I mean, even we saw he almost had an assist for Nunes in the last game in the Premier League with his kick, and he's quite the player.
Yeah, well, obviously I'm glad to see him back because he's one of my top 2 favourite goalkeepers in the world. Anyway, but yeah, I think what's happened with Stefan, interestingly, City seem to give up a few more chances with Stefan in the side. It's not to say that he isn't doing really well as a goalkeeper. I just think with Ederson, he scares opposition into not pressing so much because you do know that he can. I know it sounds cliche, but he's a world record holder for the longest kick in the world. So he can put one over the top, and I think Erling Haaland might be interested in that.
Yeah, definitely. For Ederson though, we know he can deal with pressure well. I mean, he's the coolest man, I think, on a football pitch, any football pitch. But to say he's been out for such an amount of time and to bring him in for such an important game when you'd probably say Stefan maybe had a bit of the form going into it, is there an extra pressure there on him? Because obviously then anything he does could be highlighted and gone, well, was it a bit rusty?
No,
I don't know.
I'll just touch on what Andy said in the build-up there about Kyle Walker and his match fitness. I think there's a lot of similarities here with the goalkeeper because he doesn't have to run around so much. The physical side of it can be dealt with in training. It's just the match sharpness, and even with Kyle, there might be a little bit. Actually, it's Kyle Walker, so he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But that little bit of match sharpness. But theoretically, you can do that in training. He did play, and I think it was an important game that he played in against Luton. Important because he made saves, not because he let a goal in. And I do like Luton. I was happy for that. But he's had all the experiences he could need in a game going into this one. So yes. I think he will be ready. And Pep's not going to put him in there if he doesn't think that he's going to offer more than Stefan Ortega.
Not at all. One player as well who's been flourishing, our left-back, Naden. Gvardiol. Want to take a moment to speak about him. I feel as well, though, in particular, just since him coming back from that injury, I don't know, his game just seems to have gone up a couple of levels, and even Pepper's spoken about maybe, as we know, he was learning the system and what was required, but now we're seeing him fully get to grips with it and starting to flourish for me in not his natural role as well.
Well, is it not his natural role?
Well, I
think he does it very well. You know what I mean? It's almost like, this isn't for you. If you know you're doing well, this isn't for you. Like, I think he's a really impressive player, and I think as well it's very easy to forget how young he is. I think for him to be coming to a new country, playing for a new team, and for that team to be Manchester City with the players and the setup that they have, I think it would be time to adjust. But then also there's a value in terms of being available and getting those games on the board. And, if you score like the right footer at the Bernabeu, you probably fancy yourself scoring against anyone the week after. So he's clearly feeling himself. He feels confident. He knows that right now he's the first choice. And this is a guy, who has played in the Champions League before, who has been to World Cups, Euros and so on. So he's not overawed by any occasion, and he's playing his best football at the best time.
Have you been surprised? Because I've been a little bit surprised just technically how good he is, particularly moving up the pitch.
Listen, my opinion is that some people say he is a centre-back, and what that is a passive-aggressive way of saying that he's no good with his feet. Yeah, that's what people are kind of saying. But the fact is, when he gets up in those high positions, I think he's always been comfortable.
Yes. Which
is why I don't believe that he's as a fish out of water or anything like that. I think he's very capable, very tidy with the ball, makes some good runs in attack, makes some good runs defending, can be good 1v1 as well. And for me, he's like a great asset on that side, especially with the size that he has.
Absolutely. Another great asset, Steph, is our main man, Rodri, who, the stats speaks for themselves. But before speaking about his importance, I just wondered, have you ever been in that position where, particularly being a captain as well, where you've had, it's become game after game after game, and you've maybe felt that physical or mental fatigue a little bit, and where getting that game off could just be the thing that, I don't know, gets him back to where he was beforehand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think especially at a club like this, you play so many games, and especially for the lads, I think, and even Rodri's season, last season, I think he was quoted as playing nearly over 70 games, which is an unbelievable amount at the highest level, and you're playing towards finals for cups, and to win a treble and to win trophies in pre-season as well was fantastic. But I think that's great honesty from him. I think every player wants to play, but I think when you get the squad that you have and you're able to rotate with unbelievable players like Kovacic and Bernardo Silva going to midfield if Foden doesn't play and De Bruyne has been injured, I think that's a great asset for Pep to have. But we know how important Rodri is, and I think against Madrid, potentially the first half, he didn't really look himself. I don't think he maybe misplaced a few passes, and look, we're talking about playing one of the best teams in the world, and I feel as though I'm criticising him, but I think that's just the level that we've expected of Rodri, is that he's the one that makes us tick. He's able to play the ball, but also defensively, he breaks things up. So hopefully that rest against Luton can do us the world of good tonight.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Another one, we were speaking, Steph, actually, about trying to work out. Obviously, we know De Bruyne will probably be playing central. If it will be Bernardo in the middle or Foden, we were leaning towards thinking it might be Foden and Bernardo on the right, possibly.
Yeah, I think so. I think in these games, Bernardo, he always tends to play him on that right wing, and he's able to defend, he's able to track back, he's able to help his winger, and I think the way that Phil's playing as well, I mean, in that central role, he's really flourished, and with that goal that he scored at the Bernabeu, I think that just shows his strengths, where his strengths are, in and around that 18-yard box, and in putting shots against the keeper.
Absolutely. Also, David, I feel like Bernardo is one of them players in any big game that I can think back on from last season, or, you know, away at Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, he is one of them that always steps up. And I guess for the team and the players around, you can't understate the importance and value of that enough.
I mean, I'm glad we got to see that free kick from so many different angles. Because what was it, the second minute?
Yeah.
Second minute.
Yeah.
Of the tie, Champions League knockout tie at the Bernabeu, and he's going for a shot. I mean, that just tells you how much confidence he has,
Yeah.
and more importantly, how much game understanding he has. Because I think he's probably the only. I'm not sure who's on the ball with him initially, but he's probably the only person in the stadium who thought that he was going to shoot.
Yeah.
And when you've got, as you said, when you've got someone who stepped up so many times before, the team, I'd imagine the team went, okay, it's him. You're the one guy that we probably didn't expect to do it, that could do it.
Yes.
And that kind of respect. And you're talking about Rodri. I think everyone, that's what I love about this team. Everyone in the team has earned the respect from the rest of the team for them to trust them.
Yes, absolutely.
Gvardiol, as you mentioned, when you asked Nathan about the lineup, look at us saying Gvardiol's in there. This at the beginning of the season, that was kind of like that would have been the oddity, whereas now it looks like the normal.
I wanted to, this is a question I'm going to open to all three, because it was a question that I think there was a lot of chat after that Real Madrid game. You know, the conversation always again around how involved was Haaland or whatever. And again, Pep said it, it's not the Haaland job, it's the team's job at times to find him more. What do you think we might do differently tonight, or can we do maybe just to try and get the ball to him a little bit more so he can have those shots on target?
That is a good question. I think we always sort of like wonder, someone did a great job on Haaland and so on. But the team also conceded 3 goals. Like, what we gonna be talking about here? Like a 9 playing in this system for Man City, for the way they do it, and teams tend to play against them, it can be quite tough to get tons of touches. If he was somebody that was free to go and roam and be involved, then great. But that's not the role that's required of him. So at times, himself and other people potentially in that front line, they do a job that's beyond actually like doing things which they'd love to be able to do.
Yes.
But it still serves a purpose. Not least of all, I think last year in this second leg, there were so many times where he wasn't really getting involved, but then also, like Gundogan was pinning back, I think it was Toni Kroos. On the other side, Kevin De Bruyne was pinning back Modric. And now there's space for John Stones to roam. There's more to football than just what one individual is doing and whether he's scoring that goal or not, because he'll know his value and his teammates will do as well. Because if he wasn't doing the job that's required in that moment, the game wouldn't have been able to go the way that the team wanted it to.
Yeah, of course. And then from the defender's point of view on the other team, Steph, them having to, if you're having to focus on the big man, that does mean that maybe your concentration isn't elsewhere with players like Phil and Bernardo and De Bruyne buzzing about as well. That's the other side of it.
Yeah, I think that's the job that Erling does, is that he occupies the centre halves, and he would be so difficult to mark. And I think Rudiger actually played really well against him. I don't think the service to him was great, but there was times where you're thinking, hold up a little bit more, bring more players in. But it'll be interesting tonight when De Bruyne is there with them, because I feel as though they have such a good connection that we speak about Ederson and him playing that long ball. I can always remember Arsenal home last year where John Stones has played up to Haaland and De Bruyne is running off him, and I think that's a way that you could get around it, if he can compete and get the ball first and pin it down. It's like you're occupying a couple of players to allow more space for other people. But he is so unselfish with what he does, because he must be frustrated because you're not in it all the time, you might lose concentration. But I think as long as other people are providing goals and assists, then he is doing the job for the team. But I think we expect so much of him because of last season.
Yeah, them expectations are almost too high, I think, at times. And as I say, I love as well the ethos that everyone has of we're all part of the team. It doesn't matter, it's not individual, which is great. Right, let me bring in some friends from across the pond. They are our official supporters club in New York, live, I believe. So please, can you say hello and introduce yourself to everyone at home who's watching Matchday live?
Hello everyone, my name is Kelsey Rios, we're live from New York City.
I'm Connor Davidson, live here from Amity Hall.
Beautiful. So, great tash, by the way. It has to be said first and foremost. It's a wonderful tash, sir. Guys, can you give me your initial feelings when you saw that Manchester City starting 11?
Good team, right? The one player who's not in the lineup right now that you really want is Stone, but we've seen Akanji step into that midfield role before and do it pretty successfully. Kyle Walker, huge to have back for the second leg here. We know how good he is in those 1v1 defenses against guys like Vinicius. So the team I would want to see, now we just need to get the result.
Now we've got to get the result. I mean, we know as well the attacking players are obviously key to that. How delighted have you been with Jack Grealish's performances since coming back from injury, and how key he's been particularly on that left-hand side?
I think it's been a part, to be honest. I know he's out for a longer amount of time, but I think he's been really on point so far. Tendencies, what he does today.
Could you let, I mean, whereabouts are you as well, guys? Let us, for people at home, so whereabouts in New York are you, and is the atmosphere building? What's the feeling like?
Oh yeah, no, the lads are out here a whole hour early this week. We're right in the heart of Greenwich Village. We're at Amity Hall on West 3rd Street, just south of NYU's campus. If you're in Midtown Manhattan, if you're in Lower Manhattan, if you're somewhere in Brooklyn, you're getting a train, come on out, get a pint of the lads.
And obviously, we remember the game from last season. Arguably, probably one of the greatest performances in European football for me. Do you think it's going to be similar to that, or do you think that it's a different Real Madrid opposition we're facing?
I think Real Madrid obviously have a lot with Jude Bellingham coming in. They're very well reinforced, I would say. And I would say that the City side also is. So it's going to be a good matchup. I think the expectations are pretty much like high set on the City side.
I think if there's one game that's going to follow the pattern of today, I think it's actually the 4-3 against these guys from 2 years ago. I expect a lot of goals. I expect a lot of basketball, a lot of stuff going on. So
yeah,
real nervous here with how to kick off, to be honest.
Well, listen, we'll come back to you to get some thoughts on Real Madrid in just a second. I'm going to open that to our guests here. Thank you so much for joining us as well. We really do appreciate your time. It's great to see you there. But David, you were on there. I was wondering on that. That first half last year was unbelievable. I mean, there's a chance we'll see that again. But I think even Bernardo said he thinks this is a better Real Madrid team. It's probably not going to play out the same as last year.
Are they a better Real Madrid side? I think no, I don't agree.
You don't think so? I think they're doing better domestically.
No, Champions League. This team, they've given up 30 shots on target in the Champions. So I'm going to get my stats out.
Yeah, I always want to prove this point.
Right. Lunin has actually done very well. Kepa at times has done well before him in the Champions League, but they give up a lot of chances. A lot of chances. So they're relying heavily, if not too heavily, on the likes of Rodrigo, Vinicius and Jude Bellingham, who's their top goal scorer in the league at least. But if you're going to keep giving up chances to City, then you're going to keep conceding goals. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, looking and talking about the quality of the defence, especially with Kyle Walker back, providing he stays fit for the 90 minutes, then the chances for Real Madrid to score are going to be lessened. So I think last season's Real Madrid side were better.
Interesting. Don't feel the same, Nathan?
I don't necessarily think that, but it's just because, they're on their way towards winning a La Liga title. So even the feeling within the team would be different to what it was last year, where almost like last year, even though they kind of are now, last year it's like, Real Madrid, they're the kings of Europe. The year before they knocked City out. So they will come into City with a different sort of approach where, it's the Champions League, we'll do this. Even though the league form's not there, we'll just find a way. Whereas I think this year they're doing better domestically, and I think they understand.
In terms of the atmosphere, but also that was caused by the fact that we played so well. But Real Madrid, like what Nedum said, I think they've experienced how that felt last season, so they have to do something different, and they'll have a lot more experience coming into this game than they did prior to that. But for me, I think this game's going to be unbelievable, and I think the game the other week was more about transition and who actually performed best when we transition more. The addition of Kyle Walker will probably help us with that. I think they won't hopefully break on us as much. And for me, I think it's going to be one unbelievable game, and I can't tell you what Pep's going to do. I'm thinking, is Akanji going to go and slot next to Rodri in that midfield, or is he going to do something totally different? You don't actually know. With the likes of Bernardo, Foden, De Bruyne, it could be something that we've never seen before, but no matter what we do, we always want to impress, and we always want to kind of take the game by the scruff of the neck in them first 10-15 minutes, especially at home.
We really do, and as we know, Pep always has a trick up his sleeve. He always knows what to do somehow. Let's go pitch side with FG. He's joined by Mr. Steve McManaman and Jolien Lescott.
Yes, and here I am pitchside at the Etihad with the big game, joined by Manchester City legend Jolien Lescott and Steve McManaman.
Whoa.
Manchester City legend as well, and a footballing legend.
Yes.
A Champions League legend.
Multiple winner.
I'll tell you what, we'll come to you first, actually. Let's talk about last week in the Champions League.
Let's talk.
Obviously, how will Real Madrid be feeling about that result in the Bernabeu?
I think they'll be fairly pleased about the results, the way the performance went. I don't think they'll be, of course they wanted to come here with a victory, something to hold on to, because of course the last two times they played Man City, they scored 4 against them here. So I think they needed to come to here with a goal lead or 2 goal leads to get something done tonight, because City are virtually unbeatable at home. They don't get beaten at home. If you said to someone at the start of the season, you'll get through to the semi-final if you win at home, you'd take that all day long. So I think Manchester City are big favourites today.
And Jolien, you were nodding there as Steve said that. Are you feeling as confident as Steve in the City win today?
Yeah, I'm confident that we win the game and go through. Just to go against Steve there, I think they'll be slightly disappointed. It was a weakened City team last week. No Kevin De Bruyne, no Kyle Walker, no Ederson. I'm expecting all of them players to play tonight, so it's going to be a tougher ask for them to get a result here. And last time they did come here, it was a humbling experience. So, yeah, I would have believed they would have thought they could have won the game last week and then come in here with something to hold on to. But listen, you can't bet against them because they own this competition. Yeah. So as a club, probably not this group of players, but as a club, they have something about them in this competition, so you can't rule them out.
And sadly, we know all about that, especially at the Bernabeu. But we are at the Etihad tonight. I want to ask you as well, after that game at the Bernabeu, Steve, did you speak to anyone from Real Madrid, or did anyone speak to you about how they felt from a Real Madrid perspective?
No, I left them well alone, to be honest, as you would do. I came back for the Thursday Europa League games. They had a game at the weekend. Of course, Manchester City had a game at the weekend. So you just roll on, don't you? They've been in this situation before. Both teams have. Unfortunately, that they've met in the quarterfinals, and it's not later on in the competition because they are 2 colossal teams. But one has to go forward, and one has to, unfortunately, depart this wonderful tournament.
It is a wonderful tournament indeed. It does Joe Racket that everyone's dubbing as the favourites, despite the fact that PSG are on the other side as well, and they look good as well yesterday.
I'm going to go against the grain. I did predict PSG to win the competition. Yeah, not obviously at the start of the competition, but when we did before this round of games, I thought PSG have something about. I just believe there's an Mbappe factor. I think probably the disappointment of World Cup and not winning that, and then leaving potentially this year and going to Real Madrid. I just think there's something in it written in the stars. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with that.
Surprise me, that, mate.
Hopefully I'm wrong, and I'm wrong a lot. So
who are your favourites to win the competition then, Steve?
Manchester City.
Yeah,
I think this side of the group, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I was surprised that Barcelona imploded last night. I really was, particularly the situation, the experience of some of the players who caused mistakes last night. But that happens, and that's why you have to be very clever, very professional, mentally very cold, because you cannot commit any errors. You can't give any red cards away. You can't give any penalties away. You have to be savvy. So I was surprised with Barcelona last night. But I certainly think this side of the bracket, and principally these 2 teams, are the strongest in the tournament.
Absolutely. Now, I have to ask you as well about the week.